Joining me now, Jonathan Ward, founder of Atlas Organization, a consulting firm focused on U.S.-China global competition. He's also the author of the book that we talked about before, China's Vision of History. Joined also in New York here by Charlie Hurt, Washington Times opinion editor and Fox News contributor, and Steve Hilton, host of The Next Revolution. Gentlemen, thank you very much. I don't think you can understate the importance. You know, you look back at the beginnings of World War II, for example. There was an oil embargo. You know, Japan was under pressure. Not suggesting that we're heading towards World War II. However, there is a very dynamic struggle going on right now, Jonathan, between these two nations for dominance, correct?
Yes, Martha, good evening. It's good to be here. I think the key thing that we have to understand is that the first thing is we have to win this economic competition. There's an economic competition shaping up with China. Their basic objective is to surpass us economically. Only at that point can they really build in the military infrastructure that puts in place what they would think of as a Chinese century. Their goal is by the year 2049, which is the 100th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China by the Chinese Communist Party. By 2049, they would become the undisputed world power, really with no other rival. There are turning points on this road. They see 2035 as a turning point. They see 2021. But the next decade is what matters, because that's when the technological contests, the industrial contests, the military contests are all really coming to fruition. So we have to win the economic competition if we want to avoid the deeper, bigger chance for conflict.
Jonathan, just staying with you for a moment. You've spent a lot of time in China studying these issues. Now, it's our understanding that, that there was some significant conversation. There was about a 100-page document. They thought they were getting close to a deal. Then it feels like the deal goes back to China. They look at it, they say, no, there's no way. We're not doing any of this stuff on any of these pages. Go back to Washington and tell them this is where we stand. And the president just said, deal over, done. Was that a good move, Jonathan?
I think the issue we have here is we're basically negotiating on their entire economic system, which is their path to power. I mean, we're asking them, it appears, from what's known, to change their, how they do intellectual property transfer, how they, market access, essentially their means of siphoning off from the United States and from the rest of the developed world the tools for industrial and ultimately military power. And I think they've just said, you know what, we're not going to do that. We don't have to. And I think it tells us a bit about the sense of confidence in China. I mean, also on the economic side, they've just unveiled, more stimulus, lower interest rates. All of this may give them a sense of short-term confidence. They may be factoring in their assessment of U.S. domestic politics, i.e., can we wait this out? Will the U.S. actually hold this position? But in the end, they have a definite sense of where they're going. They've told us what that is, and that's really their gift to the United States. They've told us their broader strategy, how they're going to do this, how they're going to surpass us, how they're going to take this position in the world that they seek. And frankly, we have to be negotiating with that much longer vision in mind. I mean, really, it's understanding their vision of victory that will allow us to thwart that and to rebuild American power.
I want to hear. Thank you so much. I want to hear from Charlie and Steve as well. Steve, you watched this play out today. What do you think?
Well, first of all, Martha, I just want to really say what a great thing that you have set up this news story about the tariffs in the way you have, with that long-term historical context and with Dr. Ward's excellent points. I couldn't agree more. This is an incredibly important historical moment we're in. And actually, I think we really need to recognize that President Trump has done something truly historic in overturning a consensus for the last 50 years or so that has said, look, if we're nice to China, if we open up to China, if we give them the Olympics, if we overlook their bad behavior and raise it with them behind closed doors, they will change their behavior. That has not happened. Exactly the opposite has happened. They've gone further and further towards this goal of world domination. They're on the brink of that now. And finally, we have a president, the first Western leader, actually, who said, no, we're going to challenge you. Now, he's using the weapon of economic tariffs. I think that is a smart choice because, as we've seen since he started doing it, it's been hurting China. But it hasn't hurt our economy. Our economy is booming. It's roaring ahead. It will continue to do so because actually our trade with China, even though it's important, is really a pretty small part of the giant U.S. economy. And we can afford to pursue this economic war for a long time yet.
Charlie, you saw the tweets that we put up. Basically, the president's suggestion was we have a $500 billion trade deficit with China. So why don't we just basically take that on the chin, and we'll make it up to the farmers here in the United States, and then we will still have money left over to give some of that food away to poor countries, and we can build infrastructure with the rest of it. What say you?
It's so interesting because, you know, for going back, numerous administrations who have ignored this issue, have ignored this problem. President Trump, a major reason he got elected was because of his campaigning on China. I think it's probably after immigration was the biggest campaign platform that both parties had ignored for so long.
He said China, China, China.
And you would go to the rallies and people at the back of the rally would scream out China to get him to talk about China because they just loved it when he would go on these riffs about China and how they were stealing our lunch and everything. And so, and I think that Steve is exactly right. Finally, you have somebody who is standing up to China, and you know, we have one advantage, and that is they are a communist system, and we know that communism in the long run doesn't work out very well. We are a free and open system, and we know that you know, I have faith in that system, that system can prevail. But I think that President Trump, you know, you could not ask for a more he's like a pig in slop. He loves this situation. It's the biggest deal on earth. It's on the biggest stage, and he is clearly willing to use every weapon at his disposal in order to try to win this. And I think that what you see with those tweets and stuff, he's making it clear to China that he's perfectly happy not making a deal, and that has to scare the hell out of China.
Big deal. Gentlemen, thank you. Excellent insight. Good to see all of you tonight. So coming up next, thank you.